Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the RPV, Remote Piloted Vehicle. The RPV was first released in the United States in 1988, was available in 89, and unfortunately was discontinued in 1990. Okay, so looking at it, we have some front views. We have a side view, an isometric side view with lifeline there, or no, not lifeline, dial tone? I think it's dial tone. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me in the comments. All right, and then we have some of the miscellaneous parts. So, trying to figure out exactly what we're doing with this vehicle. Um, Really, this is an early version of a what we would consider today as a drone. It's a drone launching vehicle, and it's got satellite link ups and everything else. So I've changed this a little bit to make it kind of work for some of the shenanigans that Cobra typically gets into. Because we've had Cobra knock out satellites in the past and do all those wonderful things. Um, Variations, there's no listings of any variations according to yojo.com. Europe has got a slightly different look to it. It's black and red instead of our kind of white and red, and they don't have any listings as far as the cost. But looking at this, this is taking this into the context of this being a drone is where I'm kind of going with this. All right, so bringing this into our D6 universe for GI Joe, Star Wars, whatever. Um, I kind of you know taking some of this from one of the other vehicles, just getting the base, the craft, the scale, all that stuff, so I don't have to keep typing it all in. But the one I grabbed was the Imp, so it's going to be the same ground speed as that, which I figured would probably be something close. We're not going to want to get too crazy on how fast we're going. The Imp was going 30 miles an hour. And most of the tracked vehicles, I try to stay fairly close to that. So I thought that was a pretty good start. Although body strength, I think I really want to drop that down a little bit because this is going to be a more rear line vehicle. I think we're going to keep this down to a 2D at speeder scale here. Okay. Um, and I'm keeping things just basic here. So speeder scale for the vehicle itself. Uh, I kept the 25 feet long because this looks like it's of a fairly decent size to it. And some of the drones, it does surprise me how big these things actually are. So we'll keep that there. We have a crew of one, and I figured um, we'll keep the passengers of two. If somebody wants to just kind of jump onto the back and just run with it, fine. Um, we seem to do that a lot with the GI Joe vehicles. Cargo capacity, I kept 100 pounds, so it's 45 kilograms, and I figured about a one half coverage with whoever's sitting in the seat there. Now we do have altitude range as ground, maneuverability is a 2D. We already covered the movement being 30 miles an hour. Body strength is a 2D. Now this is where instead of having weapons, I'm just calling a remote recon drone. Okay, I'm not throwing a lot of extra stuff in there. If someone was to actively try and shoot at it, I don't know how resilient this thing would be. I don't know how resilient a lot of the drones really are. I'm just saying if you could track it and go with it, fine ish, but you'd have to see it first, I guess. So we're going to shoot the drone out in the front. The drone itself is going to be at speeder scale. Um, I'm going to instead of calling a fire control, how about if we do a piloting of? All right, so we'll give it a piloting skill, like a self. I don't know really what to say on that one, because this is the first time I've ever done a drone. And I know I could just think of, okay, it's going to be doing it on its own, but typically when we have the drone, I'll tell you what, we'll give it a piloting skill. So it's got a natural piloting skill of, yeah, we can probably program it just for a 3D plus 2. Um, but the big things here is it's going to have a 15-mile radius range from the base unit and can sustain flight for about 2 hours. Now, the drones we are using today are typically propellered drones. This is like a rocket engine. I'm being gracious with the time here. Um, Even if we were to say that this is a intake, kind of like a little mini jet engine of some sort, or a hobby jet engine or something, um, just being what it is, we'll give about 2 hours. And damage, it's not going to have any actual damage, but it gives a low level satellite information to drone units for a 10-mile radius of wherever the drone is. Okay, or maybe of the base unit. Maybe we should just radius of the base unit, because it'll link back to the base unit, and then of base unit. So it'll relay it back to the base unit, and then the base unit will then um, go back there. So we'll do that. Um, there we are. So for all the times that Cobra comes along and cuts communication with all the other satellites and everything else, this will give GI Joe a low level satellite interface to be able to try and come up with whatever is going on in whatever theater that they're operating. And that's my idea of how this is really going to be used. Um, Sometimes we get these toys because they come up with an idea, looks neat and everything else. They throw some stats out there, and we just run with it. And we're just trying to figure out exactly where all this goes. And I'm trying to bring it into a military context here. So I think we have a fairly good grasp of it. Maybe I'm way off. If I am, let me know. Uh, I'm always happy to hear whatever anyone thinks, if I'm right or wrong, or if some of my terminology sometimes, because I've said this before, I'm either doing this before I go to work or sometimes after work, and I get up early and try to get my daughters off to school and work, and then my mind's still a little foggy and all that, and I come home late, and then I'm kind of burnt out, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure things out, and I never seem to find a happy medium at times. So it just is what it is. But I always appreciate when you guys stop by and watch, for all the silliness that I come up with. Um, it's always appreciated. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.